In this video, we're finally gonna talk about the brand new vision system coming in Zenless Zone Zero's 2.5 patch. We'll of course break down how to get these items so that you can awaken their potential, the buffs and changes themselves, as well as each character's new meta value. As a reminder, all of the content in this video is from the creator beta server of Zenless Zone Zero. As such, some information, results, and values may change, although slightly, for the full release in just a few days. Thank you very much to Hoyoverse for granting early access, and let's dive into our brand new changes. Let's start off by the new resource that you'll need in order to awaken these potentials and where to get them. You will primarily be using this new item called Daily Performance. As the name suggests, you will be getting these from the Redo Weekly event, which is that tic-tac-toe board that we fill out every day. You'll notice these daily performance points over here on the right reward bar every other slot or so. As for where and how to spend these points, we have to look at our shops. In fact, you can even obtain more of these daily performance points via Outpost Logistics and Association Supplies, which are the shops with Roland, Hollow Zero, Shio Defense, and all of those. But here's the Potential Archive brand new tab where we'll find where to spend our points. This will also be where the previous event Bang Boo and W engines will be, such as Gilded Blossom, Night Boo, and Lucky Boo. But the main thing to be concerned about here is those potential silhouettes for each of the 5 currently buffed characters. As you can see here in the Vision tab for each different character, there's a total of 6 upgrades you need per character. The most important upgrade is number 1 for each character, as this unlocks all of their new skills, core changes, or buffs that they might need. 2 through 5 expand and make stronger one thing in particular, kinda like Traces in Honkai Star Rail or something like that. Let's go ahead and dive into our first character's buffs and see these changes in action. One of my favorites, Ellen Joe. Luckily, we don't have to spend a lot of time on Ellen or Soldier Zero Anby for that matter, because their first buff has already been introduced in the game. We'll give a quick overview for both of the characters' buffs here, and if you want to go more in depth, check out either of the videos for Soldier Zero Anby or Ellen's original buffs. Ellen gets her 2 brand new basic attacks, Icy Blade and Glacial Blade Wave. Icy Blade is that automatic strike after the 3rd hit of basic attack, EX Special Shark Nami, dodge counter Reef Rock, and assist follow-up, which will also give her the quick charge effect. Glacial Blade Wave will consume 2 points of Flash Freeze charges, which is Ellen's main resource, in order to execute. This is done by manually inputting basic attack after any of that list of moves we just talked about, and is this big forward strike attack from Ellen. As for Ellen's dash state where she's running around the field, it was really easy to previously be knocked over when trying to acquire your Flash Freeze charges. But not anymore, my friends, because our awesome Shark Thyron now has a built-in block to the Scissor Strike. While you're charging up your scissors, if you're hit by an enemy, your damage will be nullified and it will instantly complete the charge, giving you the max 3 Flash Freeze charges. Ellen's core passive, where she gets that giant crit damage increase to her moves, is further expanded to chain attacks, ultimates, and both new forms of basic attack. Same kind of concept here with an expansion on her additional ability to either be a stun character, the same attribute, or the same faction. So there's the quick rundown of what we already know about Ellen's buffs. She already has those, and we can already use them in the game right now. The new thing for Ellen is these 5 other potential awakenings for Permafrost Zone. This is kinda what I meant by saying they're traces from Honkai Star Rail or a similar idea. Each level will further increase this Permafrost Zone. For Ellen, this will further amplify the crit damage increase for her additional ability, Rising Storm, each level you obtain. The maximum will be 4.8 per stack, and at 10 stacks, the attack ignores 10% of the target's ice resistance. Ultimately, I really like all of the changes for all 5 of these characters, but Ellen's have some of my favorites, and we've already got to test them a bunch. These changes really help Ellen with her on-field damage. Whereas before you would primarily use her in those burst windows, she does significantly more damage now while she's on the field, no matter what the stun bar looks like. She also deals with groups of mobs a lot better, especially with those brand new basic attacks being so wide in range. Ultimately, this puts Ellen back on par with a lot of our limited S ranks that we saw more recently, and definitely increases her viability to a point where she is extremely good at any of the endgame content now. Now let's move on to Soldier Zero Anby, who I personally think has the best set of buffs. In all honesty, she kinda feels like a must-pull character now, especially with these changes. Her first slot in the vision potential has that big list that we've already seen as already inside the game. First is the change to her basic attack string, the third hit of it specifically being a lot better at pulling enemies in. Soldier Zero Anby's dodge mechanics are significantly improved, and this is where it gets cool. Specifically, we want to look at that voltage overload state, which makes it actually easier to dodge other incoming attacks. This also gives us some nice quality of life, since you can press the special button to immediately cancel the current skill and launch special attack Azure Flash at any point if you have White Thunder. With enough energy, you can do the same kind of idea by going straight into EX Special instead. Special attack Azure Flash Boundary is where a lot of her damage will come from now. This automatically triggers when the current skill, being either EX Special Attack or Special Attack Azure Flash, ends. Plus, this does count as an aftershock, which is very important for her core passives. In very basic terms, both her core passive and her additional abilities now give her a lot more overall damage. For example, damage taken from aftershocks on the enemy will increase by an additional 30% of Soldier Zero Anby's crit damage, plus the original 25 more damage to enemies marked with Silver Star, which is the main resource and ability that Anby uses to stack up that White Thunder and accumulate all of her damage. At the bottom of this blurb, we see a nice quality of life where any character in your squad can accumulate this meter with their aftershock. Her additional ability is further expanded to not only give her the 10% crit rate increase for free, but also increase aftershock damage dealt by other team members by 25% to enemies marked with Silver Star, on top of what we just read. Plus, her chain attack and ultimate damage are still considered aftershock. Anyway, that's all the buffs that Anby's already received. What about her new awakened potential called Electro Pulse? This is also a further expansion on her additional ability, Voltage Surge, where each level in the vision system will increase squad members' aftershock damage against enemies with Silver Star up to a maximum of 50% at Vision Potential 6. These changes have really changed my outlook on Soldier Zero Anby from a meta perspective. When she first released, I wasn't all that crazy about trying to pull her, and her damage did seem a little bit low compared to the other units we were getting at the time, unless you had that specific aftershock team, especially with Trigger. But you can now throw all of that aside because Soldier Zero Anby is honestly one of the best DPSs in the game now with these changes. She feels much more fluid and much more fun to play as well, and has quickly become one of my favorite characters to enjoy using. But now let's go into all of the brand new buffs in the Vision Potential system, starting with Burnice. Her basic attack Mixed Flame Blend got a little bit stronger with an extra instance of Afterburn that doesn't cost heat, and it now does a lot better of a job pulling enemies in towards her. But the real strength of Burnice's changes comes from her brand new EX special attack called Intense Heat Tossing Method. This introduces a new resource for Burnice called Ember Flow, which is indicated by this little pip on her heat meter. You'll get this Ember Flow when squad mates trigger her off-field Afterburn 12 times, or anytime you see that tick of fire damage while Burnice is off the field. When that Ember Flow is lit up on her meter, then you can activate this EX special attack by switching Burnice back onto the field. The rest of this blurb just states that the move is considered a quick assist, her basic attack will count for 2 times on the Afterburn, and that you can't possess more than 1 Ember Flow at a time. So what exactly does this move do when I switch Burnice onto the field, you might be asking? Here's where it gets cool, and this is an important thing to remember because it will share the same kind of idea with Grace when we start talking about her. This colorful blurb gives Burnice something called a bloom. For those of you Vivian fanatics, it works the same way as her bloom. This triggers that additional attribute anomaly damage equal to those different percentages based on which attribute anomaly the enemy is suffering from. For instance, burn will be 600%. This last blurb just tells us that the additional ability Fire Anomaly buildup will also apply to this skill, and you can follow up directly into her EX special double shot. Burnice's awakened potential gives her an extra bit of anomaly mastery and damage based on her initial energy regen. You can get a maximum of 25 anomaly mastery and 20% damage, and this also reduces the afterburn interval to 1.35 seconds. Ultimately, this doesn't change Burnice's playstyle at all, and using her exactly how you did before will yield amazing results. You'll still want to keep ticking those afterburn intervals in order to stack up to get that Ember Flow point. Then when you switch Burnice back onto the field to recharge her heat meter, you will automatically use her new EX special, where that Abloom damage will come from. I gotta say, when I first saw that Burnice was getting buffed in the Vision Potential system, I was kinda surprised, because I still use her all the time. I still think she's an incredible unit, and this just makes her even better. This definitely puts her back in line with Vivian to feature that off-field anomaly damage, especially with Abloom. As you notice here for our next character, Grace Howard, we also have Abloom for her to consider. I will admit, over the past I have been a #1 Grace hater, and I haven't really liked using her all that much. But these changes are a very good quality of life and make her a lot stronger. The fact that this is even on a non-limited S rank is even better, because that's a good sign going forward for all of our other favorite characters in Zenless. The first change is her quality of life on her basic attack. While you're launching her grenades, you can no longer interrupt her basic attack combo string from any of her other moves being used. Plus, if you perfect dodge an enemy's attack, you'll go straight automatically into the basic attack's 4th hit. For the rest of her changes, remember that the icons under her LinkedIn profile picture are called Zap. A nice little quality of life buff for Grace is when you consume this Zap on her special attack, you have the ability to dodge incoming enemy attacks. Also, you don't want to know how many times I had to re-record the words consuming and zap in the same sentence. Anyway, here's where the bulk of Grace's brand new damage and buffs will come from, starting with her EX special attack. If you use EX special after reaching your max zap stacks, you'll throw an additional vortex cluster grenade, plus this will be an extra ability to pull enemies in while dealing electric damage. Where Grace gets her Abloom from is indicated in these last few changes. This all stems from the brand new addition to her ultimate called Pulse, in which you'll receive 25 stacks. In basic terms, you'll consume 1 stack of Pulse while you gain those Zap grenades. After you consume this Pulse and obtain 8 stacks of Zap, the next grenade throw will trigger Abloom in the same way that Burnice's did. In other words, you'll use Grace's ultimate to get the 25 stacks of Pulse, you'll spend this Pulse while you gain the Zap grenades, and when you throw the extra grenade, you will automatically trigger an extra instance of Abloom, which is brand new to Grace now. These Pulse stacks also unlock a funny new move for Grace, called Obstruction Removal Cycle. All you have to do is hold down the special attack button to repeatedly hurl grenades forward in this funny animation. This makes me think that the Dodgers could use a new pitcher probably if they want to hire Grace. Anyway, you can tilt the joystick during this to quickly move and reposition to dodge enemy attacks, and this is a very quick way of quickly getting those Zap stacks after getting Pulse. Grace's additional ability Tech Support Department expands to not only be the same attribute or faction, but also any anomaly character, which vastly improves her team synergy. As for her Awakened Potential, aka levels 2 through 6, when consuming Zap, you'll gain Enhanced Zap, which increases her electric damage by 30% for 25 seconds at the max level. So what does this mean as a whole for Grace's value? Well, like I said earlier, it greatly improves her on-field damage, especially with the addition of Abloom into her kit. Perhaps the most underrated change is her additional ability, which greatly improves her team synergy by including anomaly characters now. It puts her in line with a lot of our limited agents. She might not do quite as much damage as Vivian or Burnice or someone, but she can definitely still be viable in the endgame content a lot easier now too. The last character we need to discuss is Soldier 11. In my opinion, she has the most fun buffs of the group. There's a couple of core concepts here, but let's start with the addition of her new basic attack ideas. First, remember the idea of fire suppression with Soldier 11, where it's guaranteed that she'll be doing fire damage with her basic attacks and other moves after using certain moves like EX Special. Well, when fire suppression is guaranteed to trigger on basic attack, you'll unlock the 5th hit of the basic attack string. Plus, if you use Chain Attack or Ultimate, you'll power up your next form of this 5th basic attack hit. But using this will consume all of your remaining guaranteed fire suppression and deal extra fire damage. Another quality of life thing for her basic attack string is no matter where you're at in the combo, if you perfect dodge, you can just restart wherever you left off. Plus, you can see the animations for her basic attack string are much quicker. Soldier 11 also gets a new basic attack called Fire Assault, used by holding down the basic attack button. This will cause this move to enter Fire Charge, or this basic charging state. If you're attacked by an enemy right when you start charging, or during basic attack Fire Assault, which is the damage afterward, a block counter can be triggered, which will negate the damage and grant 3 guaranteed triggers of fire suppression. In addition, you can follow up right into the 3rd hit of basic attack out of this move. This last blurb just says you can move around by tilting the joystick while you're charging your Fire Assault. The other important concept with Soldier 11's buffs is called Alert Stance. Take a look at this new blurb from EX Special Attack. If at any point when you have Alert Stance you are attacked during your basic attack sequence, you will automatically trigger that Fire Charge and Fire Assault we just talked about. This is seen here in this little footage clip, where she's perfectly dodging that automatically with Fire Charge, and then going right back into her basic attack string. This is the same exact idea for Alert Stance on her other 2 moves that got buffed, Chain Attack and Ultimate. As for Soldier 11's Awakened Potential, aka numbers 2 through 6, on the Vision Potential screen, her crit damage will be increased by 48% at max level for additional ability. In other words, this doesn't really change Soldier 11's gameplay all that much, it just gives her some much needed buffs on the on-field portion of her kit, and gives her some really nice quality of life changes. While this does give her a lot more viability and she can still easily do the endgame content now, she won't have as much damage as our limited S-rank fire agents. But it is safe to say that all of the changes made for any of the 5 characters are amazing and they're really fun to play. That's what's really cool about Zenless Zone Zero as a whole. You can really play with whoever you want and still be able to clear the endgame content. Plus, it goes to show how much the Zenless developers really do care about listening to player feedback and making sure their characters are still viable. But that's all I have for you guys in this video, and I hope you enjoy all of these changes and buffs as much as I have. Let me know in the comments what character you would like to see get these changes next, and who you're looking forward to trying out the most. If this guide helped in any way, please make sure to like the video and subscribe for more Zenless Zone Zero because the 2.5 early access videos are upon us. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.